So note to self, don't get lost when you're walking in the woods with a kettlebell. You got to figure out how to get back. So energy strength training, loaded carries with a kettlebell, what I call kettlebell walks. One of the reasons I think these have such an amazing effect is because it's quite a long endurance strength type of exercise. And I find that if I'm walking in the woods, the length of time that I will spend under load or releasing under load is so much more than I would if I was just gonna stand in one place and swing the bell and play like that. So you get this long duration that you're working. Now also you're walking on uneven surfaces and you're constantly changing position. So because you're stepping and you're slinging the weight through the entire facial system, of course as related to the energy, then the result of this is a type of massage that gets reticulated through the entirety of the body. And the weight acts as a means of slinging pain and tension points out of the body. The weight enhances that. So one other thing that happens after a long enough period of time is it starts to awaken a primal nature. Now this can happen as well if you go really heavy in the gym, for example, but then you tend to run the risk of potential injury because you're putting so much load in at once. The intensity is so great. Now, when we're doing these long endurance type of trainings, you can really start to pop open that primal aspect of yourself, and it'll come out on its own. You'll notice you start grunting and growling even, all aspects of going deeper and deeper, those primal natures of the body coming out. And as we start observing the mind fighting being in this situation, then that gives us an opportunity to open up those the membranes around those layers of reality, so we can embrace the position that we're in and invite the energy into those gaps or those areas that would otherwise be separated due to those membranes. So I think it's a hell of a lot of fun, and as one of my friends says, you think weird things are fun, but it's a really interesting way to learn about your own psychology, the nature of your own mind, and as a means of strength endurance for your spiritual practice. Now you can of course do far less time with a lot more weight and stress things fairly dramatically. I do find that these kettlebell walks, these loaded carries, have a far-reaching effect. The effect is far more than the sum of its parts, and I really enjoy this quite a lot. So what this allows us to do when we're practicing without the weight is our ability to stay tuned to the energy and releasing into it, whether we're teaching or healing or whatever. You can do it for a long time and sustain the energy for a long time. Now, another thing that will happen is that we have to find the point where we marry the release, the surrender, with the expansiveness and the connection to the energy. If we are holding the weight and we are just moving, then with the mind expanded and we're not releasing, we are now creating multiple points of contrast and tension. And this essentially we're fighting ourselves upon fighting ourselves upon fighting ourselves. So the key thing here is to give up to the energy. That's the key. And it has to be to the energy. It can't be it can't be going slack or limp, because then you get injuries, right? The weight will pull your joints open and apart, which some might think is okay, and for others it might hurt a lot. So we have to be aware, be safe, and of course work this releasing capacity. We're strengthening our ability to do whatever it is that we're doing internally with the weight. That's what we're doing. We're stressing our capacity. So what the mind touches grows, and what the mind touches under load grows more. So under load for long periods of time, we'll start to notice how we distract ourselves, how the mind will want to be anywhere else but here, under this particular type of stress. And we have to release into it, embrace it, merge it with the energy, and allow it to really act as an enhancement for the meditative path, the spiritual path, or whatever qualities you're wanting to build more of in yourself. Okay, hope you found this entertaining. I'm going to go back to grunting and growling my way back to the van. And one more thing that we want to note is the freedom. We want to get to the other side of the stress, where it's moving and existing, but we are not fighting it in any way. It's free to reticulate and trigger adaptation, right? And we embrace the adaptations through release. We embrace the points that the weight touches through release, emergent surrender to the substance that we're working with. If you're interested in some ways to get started with this, I do have in the Zenden a 40-minute introductory lecture on how to get started with a kettlebell if this is something you might want to get into, because when we're doing it with a certain degree of skill between the breathing and the movement, it really does massage us open, and it allows blood and stimulation and healing to reach areas of the body that we might not otherwise be able to stimulate. Okay, that's it for me. I gotta get all the way back home, and got a little something to carry with me. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye.